This is Paul Carr from TechCrunch. I'm joined by David and Casey from CodeGuard. Now, first of all, congratulations. You guys made it onto the stage yesterday from the Startup Alley. That was a hell of an achievement. You beat out, I don't know how many, but I walked through and I saw dozens of startups, and you were objectively and subjectively the best. So tell us a bit about CodeGuard for anyone who didn't see the pitch.
Sure. Yeah, quick soundbite is that we're a time machine for your website. We back up via FTP or SFTP, then we're going to monitor for changes, and then we'll allow you to undo changes. And the key thing is that we'll monitor every day or every hour, and then if we detect anything, we'll take a new version. But we won't take a new version unless there's a change in your site.
So it's like I might have like Time Machine or something on my Mac.
Yep.
It's the same but for my website. So
for your website.
So if I break something or if I get hacked or if whatever.
That's exactly it. If you break something in your site or someone else does, or if you're hacked, we'll notify you, and then you can press one button and then roll back to what we call the last clean version or good version of your source code.
Okay. And is it free? Is it paid for? What's the?
So it's free if your site's less than 250 megabytes, and you have to pay if your site's larger than 250 megabytes,
right.
And or you want to manage,
whole site,
or you want to,
I can just choose the file.
Yeah, or you can choose a particular directory.
Right.
And then if you have sites that total more than a gigabyte, you have to sign for an agency plan, and that's custom pricing.
Oh, okay. No, that seems reasonable. And it covers static pages, but also like databases and stuff?
So, great question. Our plan is to absolutely
cover
dynamic and static. The great question. Our plan is to cover static and dynamic. Right now, we cover static, and that works really well. We're working on the dynamic piece because we wanted to start with something we thought was more manageable and then progress to a harder solution that we're going to have to sort of customize.
Got it.
So that's the plan. And something that's come up in some of the forums is, sophisticated users have asked, well, wow, you just invented version control. That's something that's special. Right. And our response has been, sophisticated technologists use version control. We use Git. We're just trying to bring that to the masses.
Right.
So for most of TechCrunch's the Disrupt attendees, and for a lot of the fans and followers, they're already using version control. This is just something easy for everyone else.
This is something for So my parents have a website for their hotel they run. They could use this.
Yes, absolutely.
And how do they sign up? So you said it's FTP. So it's literally you go in, give the FTP username, password, and server details, and we're ready to go?
And you're ready to go. So you press get started, or CodeGuard or guard me, I think guard it. Press guard it once you enter your information, and then we'll start the backup. And it'll usually take anywhere, we say between 24 to 48 hours, just depending on how many sites are in the queue ahead of you. But that's for the initial backup. And then from there, it's really quick because all we're doing is we're looking for diffs. And so if there's a difference, we'll just take that file, and we call it a new version, but it's very fast.
And how long have you guys been going? This is launched here, or this has been going for a while?
Yeah, just launched here. We started April of 2010. Just launched here though, so very excited, and have another good announcement for next week. But
what is it?
I can't say it now, I guess.
Well, the next week when we TechCrunch Disrupt. You can't sit here and say, coming up at someone else's conference. That's
so we're thrilled to be chosen as the...
You realize if this doesn't appear on if whatever the news is, if we don't get it first, then you realize you will never be at another TechCrunch event. That's how this works. if I'm like flicking through the Wall Street, yes, this is exactly blackmail. This is part of the new ethical Petri dish approach to TechCrunch that's It's already slightly overflowing, but it's working well. So yeah, you better give us that story. So talk a little bit about your background. What brought you both to CodeGuard? It's a new company, so I guess you've done stuff before.
My background, I went to Georgia Tech for undergraduate. I studied mechanical engineering, and then I worked for GE for 5 years. I was in sales, sourcing, and operations. Then I went to Harvard Business School, and during my first year, I started a company with a good friend who was at MIT at the time. When I went to business school, I thought I wanted to go into finance. But then my friend and I, we tried out for this reality TV show, American Inventor. We didn't think we had much of a chance. We didn't think we had much of a chance. We ended up getting selected. So in between the first and second year of business school, for 4 weeks I was in LA filming, and we were given $50,000 to work on our prototype.
What was your American invention?
It was called the Claw. The Claw.
Okay.
And
what did it do?
It holds your bicycle, so you can either mount it to the ceiling or to the wall. Okay. And so it's sort of like an upside down pin mechanism where you just lift your bike and it'll grab it.
Yeah.
And it's for sale now in Sears and Lowe's.
Does it exist?
It exists. Yeah, we sold it to.
How are you doing CodeGuard? You should be making billions of dollars holding people's bikes.
Exactly. So we ended up doing a licensing deal with Whirlpool. They have a garage products division. So half the summer was a reality show, half the summer was...
Whirlpool, the washing machine people?
Yes, they have a garage products division called Gladiator. They help garage provide some really, really neat stuff for your garage.
I have no idea. John's talking to me. He's doing this sort of producer thing. I'll throw in a second. I just want to hear more about. I want to hear more about American Inventor. I mean, not Not the CodeGuard's not interesting. No, okay. Let me ask you this about. Let me go back to CodeGuard, and ask. So how did you find it? So you were in the startup alley, and then I guess you must have got some pretty good feedback from the floor and from the voters.
We did. I think something that was really helpful is the night before, as I was talking to developers who'd attended the hackathon as well as other attendees, getting feedback as I explained what we were doing, because it really was the first time we took it, and we tried to iterate. And so what we did is we took, and the deck that we used, we pretty much built the night before, but it was, the messaging was based off of feedback we got from people we spoke to.
Okay.
So the key thing, the key line, which is a time machine for your website, we talked about that internally, but only once I talked to developers and other attendees and got confirmation that's a really good way to explain this, we said, okay, let's do it, and that's going to be our tagline.
Wow, and then you started doing that, and then the next thing you know, you're on stage.
And then we were on stage.
And you were the last. You were the last presentation of the last session on the second. So the final day of. So you had, everyone wanted to go home, and yet still, the response I had from the judges was positive. I mean, I had a lot of people afterwards saying they definitely use it. So I think, a bit like BillGuard, which made it through to the finals. There were a lot of people saying, oh yeah, I definitely use this. But also like them, presumably a lot of your potential success is driven by, can you get like hosting providers on board with this? And
Absolutely.
With them it's like, can we get the banks to include this as part of their offering? Who have you got? Have you got anyone yet? Are you looking for people? What's the...
So the CEO of a company, there's a small hosting company called A Small Orange, and the CEO...
A Small Orange?
A Small Orange.
Okay, that does sound like a small company.
Yeah, they're started in Atlanta, grew through word of mouth, great customer service. Their CEO, his name's Doug Hanna, and he's on our board of advisors, and we've been working with him to spec out the cPanel plugin. So we're going to first work with A Small Orange to get that established. Doug has
roll it across to
and then go to another 3 weeks. So we've had conversations with a handful of hosting providers. Our plan is really to start, make sure we get, really nail it with A Small Orange's customers, and then try to go from there. So we talked to Media Temple here. They're interested, and they've got a Plus platform, so we need to, we've got to develop some things. But absolutely very excited about that.
Well, that's great. Well, I mean, it's always good to see a great company come into the startup pit, the startup alley rather, and make it all the way through onto the stage and get such a good audience response. Like I feel like our crowd picks good startups. So and hopefully this will will give you the exposure you need to get the deals and everything else.